Hi, my name is Shadi Andras, and I'll be presenting on behalf of the team representing the New York State Teacher Retirement System. This slide covers an overview of the plan. The plan provides benefits to most New York State public school teachers and administrators, serving 825 employers, primarily public school districts and institutions of higher education. As of June 2013, Nystrs has more than 426,000 members, of which roughly 273,000 are active, and pension assets of $95.4 billion. The discount rate for the plan is 8%. This page covers the historical performance, the funded status, and the actuarial required contribution for the plan, going back to 2000, the year 2000 were available. The average annual return since 2000 is calculated as 5.8%, with a limited number of 5-year returns exceeding the discount rate of 8%, and no 10-year annualized return exceeding that rate. Regarding the funded status, the plan is actually fairly consistently overfunded or properly funded, going back historically, with a standard deviation of 10% for historical funded status. The most recent funding status is 89.8%, which is actually the lowest in the recent history of the plan. The offsetting component to a stable funded status is the fact that the plan has a increasing employer contribution rate, which has reached double digits as of 2012. In fact, the projected 2014 contribution rate of 16.25% is not only the highest rate experienced, it's a 37% increase over the prior year. Next, we're going to talk about some of the elements of the plan's solvency and performance under alternative assumptions. One of the arguments against the discount rate currently applied in the plan is that it reflects the assumed return on assets while ignoring the guaranteed nature of pension liabilities. When recalculating the accrued actuarial liability using current Treasury and municipal yields, we saw a significant decrease in the funding status. Specifically, using either the 20-year Treasury or municipal yields for New York bonds, the percentage increase in the accrued actuarial liability is 124% and 107% respectively. In the private market, insurance providers would often consider these risk-free rates, which we base the calculations on, to be appropriate for guaranteed obligations, such as Nystrs pension benefits. Next, we're going to go over a brief policy overview, highlighting some of the key aspects of the plan. The first of which is membership tiers. The plan categorizes members by tier based on membership date. The benefits between the tiers differ, with 6 tiers currently established. The strength of this model is that the plan has the ability to modify benefits for future members by establishing new tiers, thus reducing the legislative action required by not affecting prior tier benefits. Second is the benefit language and specific limitations. For instance, the plan addresses potential loopholes by explicitly defining aspects such as the basis for final salary. This prevents excessive post-retirement benefits due to inflated salary values that are based on secondary benefits such as accumulated vacation or sick time. Next is adverse market provision and smoothing for employer contribution rate. The plan smooths employer contributions by deferring recognition of gains and establishing provisions for adverse market conditions, which help employers contribute a more consistent amount rather than simply reflecting volatility in the market. Lastly, one of the negative aspects of the plan is the COLA adjustment, which is valued at 50% of CPI and has a limit of 1 to 3%. This adjustment is also only made on the first $18,000 of benefits received. This is roughly 1/3 of the average benefits received and by beneficiaries. So in the event that inflation exceeded 6%, the value would be very limited in its adjustment to accommodate inflation. More information is available in our report as well as the supplementary documentation. We'd like to conclude by discussing our proposal and policy recommendation. The first is to redefine the discount rate. At 8%, the discount rate currently applied does not align with the economic reality of risk-free securities currently available in the market. The required rate forces the plan to take on substantial risk, in our opinion. Based on the nature of the benefits, which are guaranteed and largely fixed, we feel that the discount rate should be benchmarked to a risk-free rates or rates of comparable municipal bonds. In order to achieve a benchmark discount rate, we recommend selecting the specific yield curve and tenor, as well as an acceptable spread of roughly 100 basis points. The plan would be given anywhere from 5 to 10 years to implement this change. Potentially, the plan could begin by reducing the discount rate 10 basis points per year until it comes within an acceptable range of the benchmark yield. This actually allows the plan time for interest rates to rise, which is widely forecasted by analysts given the tapering of quantitative easing currently in effect. By making this into law, the plan creates a dynamic valuation process, which should not require as much additional legislative action, making it applicable regardless of rate cycles. A narrower spread will also allow the plan to use more of an immunization approach by being able to invest in more fixed rate, high-quality securities, which would greatly reduce the overall risk exposure of the plan. Our second proposal pertains to mortality index. The current member contribution is between 3 and 6% and only applies to the latest tier. Former tiers have lower rates and/or rates that end after a certain number of years. The average rate for employee contributions is actually closer to 6.5% for similar plans. Because lifespans have increased, the impact of the assumption of mortality, of course, causes the benefits received by beneficiaries to go up. In order to offset the fact that beneficiaries are often living longer, future tiers should have a built-in increase to contribution rates of employees that is tied to an increase in lifespan or some form of mortality. Given the increase in contribution rates for the latest Tier 6, which has the highest contribution rate as well as no cutoff date, it appears the plan has already adjusted to some account for this effect. However, by formalizing a growth rate that is tied going forward to mortality or some benchmark increase in member contributions, we would subsequently reduce the amount of legislative action and adjustment required going forward, while not impacting any of the current beneficiaries. That concludes the proposal for the New York State Teachers Retirement System team. Thank you.